In a world filled with constant noise, endless opinions, and the pressure to be seen and heard, silence is often misunderstood. People believe that if they are not speaking, not explaining, not proving themselves, they are falling behind. But the truth is, silence is where real strength is built. It is in the quiet moments, away from the distractions of the world, that a person discovers who they truly are. Silence is not weakness, it is not avoidance, it is power, it is control, it is the ability to step away from chaos and focus on the one thing that truly matters: inner growth. When a person learns to be silent, they learn to listen, not just to others but to themselves. They begin to hear the thoughts they have ignored, the emotions they have pushed aside, and the voice of God guiding them. Silence is not empty, it is full of revelation. It allows space for reflection, for understanding, for transformation. It is in the stillness that people recognize what they truly want, what they truly need, and what is no longer serving them. Most people live their lives reacting to the noise around them. They respond to criticism, they defend themselves against opinions, they seek validation from those who will never fully understand them. But when a person embraces silence, they remove themselves from that cycle. They no longer feel the need to explain their every move. They stop justifying their decisions to those who were never meant to walk their path. They stop wasting energy on battles that do not matter. Instead, they use that energy to grow, to build, to strengthen their spirit. There is a reason why some of the greatest minds in history spent time in solitude. They understood that clarity does not come from noise. It comes from quiet reflection. It is in silence that people develop resilience, they learn patience, they build discipline. When a person can sit in stillness and not be shaken by the outside world, they have reached a level of strength that few ever attain. The world tries to convince people that being silent means being invisible, that if they are not constantly proving themselves, they will be forgotten. But the strongest people are not the loudest. They are not the ones shouting for attention. They are the ones who move in silence, who let their actions speak, who trust that their growth does not need an audience. They understand that true confidence is not found in words, but in the quiet assurance of knowing who they are. Silence also protects energy. Words carry weight, and when people speak unnecessarily, they give away their power. They invite opinions, doubts, and distractions that were never meant to be part of their journey. But when they choose silence, they maintain control. They decide where their energy goes. They decide what they give attention to. They decide who has access to their thoughts and emotions. This level of control is what sets apart those who are constantly drained and those who remain focused and unshaken. Many people struggle with silence because they are uncomfortable with themselves. They seek distractions to avoid facing their thoughts, but growth requires facing what is within. It requires sitting with the discomfort, understanding it, and working through it. The more a person practices silence, the more they learn to trust themselves. They no longer need external validation. They no longer seek approval. They become their own source of strength. Silence is also where faith is built. When there are no distractions, when there is no outside noise, a person can truly hear God. They can feel His presence. They can receive His guidance. But that can only happen when they are willing to be still. Too many people are asking for answers while surrounding themselves with distractions. They want clarity, but they are unwilling to sit in silence long enough to receive it. Those who are truly strong understand that sometimes the most powerful thing they can do is say nothing, do nothing, and simply listen. In a world where social media showcases everyone's highlight reels, it is easy to fall into the trap of comparison. People see others achieving success, traveling to beautiful places, building their dream lives, and they begin to question their own progress. They wonder if they are moving fast enough, if they are doing enough, if they are enough. But the truth is, comparison is one of the greatest distractions. It pulls attention away from what truly matters and places it on someone else's journey. It creates unnecessary doubt, steals joy, and causes people to lose sight of their own path. The danger of comparison is that it is never based on the full picture. People only see what others choose to share. They see success but not the struggle. They see the results but not the sacrifices. They see the smiles but not the silent battles. And yet, they measure their own progress against an incomplete story. They convince themselves that they are behind, that they are failing, that they are not doing enough. But every journey is different. Every person is walking a unique path designed specifically for them. There is no single timeline for success. There is no universal schedule for growth. What is meant for one person is not necessarily meant for another. When people focus on comparison, they stop focusing on themselves. They spend time analyzing someone else's progress instead of working on their own. They get caught up in the illusion of perfection instead of embracing the reality of their own journey. They allow someone else's timeline to dictate their own sense of urgency. But the most successful people understand that the only competition that matters is the one with themselves. They do not waste time measuring their progress against someone else's. They do not allow someone else's success to make them question their own. They stay focused on improving, growing, and becoming better than they were yesterday. Comparison also creates unnecessary stress. When people believe they are behind, they rush. They force things that are not ready. They make decisions based on pressure rather than purpose. But growth is not a race. It is not about who gets there first. It is about who stays true to their journey, who remains committed to their purpose, who trusts that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Rushing the process does not lead to real success. It leads to burnout, frustration, and disappointment. True success comes to those who are patient, who trust their timing, who understand that their path cannot be compared to anyone else's. The moment a person stops comparing themselves to others, they free themselves from unnecessary burdens. They no longer feel the pressure to prove themselves. They no longer feel the need to rush their journey. They begin to focus on what truly matters, building their own life, improving their own skills, working on their own goals. They shift from a mindset of competition to a mindset of growth. They no longer see others as threats, but as proof that success is possible. They understand that someone else's victory does not take away from their own. Focusing on someone else's journey takes energy away from building one's own. Every minute spent comparing is a minute taken away from progress. The strongest people understand that their greatest investment is in themselves. They do not look left or right. They do not allow distractions to pull them off course. They commit fully to their own path, trusting that everything will fall into place at the right time. The only way to truly grow is to focus inward, to put energy into personal development, to measure success by progress rather than comparison. When a person learns to do that, they free themselves from the weight of expectations and allow themselves to move forward with clarity and confidence. There are moments in life when it feels like nothing is happening. The prayers have been spoken, the work has been done, but the results seem far away. This is the season of waiting, the time when doubt tries to creep in and the temptation to force things becomes overwhelming. But what many people fail to realize is that God often works in the quiet, in the unseen, in the moments when it seems like nothing is changing. Just because progress is not visible does not mean it is not happening. Just because the answer has not arrived yet does not mean it is not on its way. When God is preparing something great, He does it in silence. Seeds do not break through the soil the moment they are planted. They take time to grow beneath the surface, developing strong roots before they ever make an appearance. The same principle applies to life. There are seasons of preparation, seasons where the work being done is internal, unseen by the outside world. These moments test patience, test faith, and challenge the ability to trust in the process. People often mistake silence for abandonment. They assume that if they do not see immediate results, then nothing is happening. But God is not on human timing. He does not rush. He does not force. He prepares things perfectly, ensuring that what is meant to be will arrive at exactly the right time. There are things that cannot be rushed. Character must be built before promotion can come. Strength must be developed before greater responsibility is given. Maturity must be reached before blessings can be sustained. Silence is not an indication that nothing is happening. It is an indication that something deeper is being worked on. It is in these moments of quiet that lessons are learned, resilience is developed, and trust in God is strengthened. If everything happened instantly, faith would never be needed. Growth would never occur. The ability to handle greater things would never be established. The world moves fast, constantly demanding proof, constantly seeking validation through immediate results. But true success, true transformation does not happen in a rush. It happens in the hidden moments, in the spaces where no one is watching, in the decisions made in private long before they ever show up in public. The strongest people understand this. They do not panic when things seem still. They do not lose faith when results take time. They trust that the process is working even when they cannot see it. When God works in silence, He is not only preparing the outcome, but He is also preparing the person. A blessing given too soon can become a burden. An opportunity arrived at too quickly can become overwhelming. There is wisdom in waiting, in allowing things to unfold naturally, in trusting that what is meant to be will happen in its appointed time. Those who succeed are not always the most talented or the most gifted. They are the ones who have the patience to endure the process, the strength to keep going even when nothing seems to be happening, and the wisdom to recognize that silence does not mean absence. It means preparation. People often look for loud signs, for obvious indications that things are changing, but the most powerful transformations happen in the stillness. It is in the quiet moments that new perspectives are gained, that inner strength is developed, that faith is truly tested. It is easy to trust when everything is moving quickly, when doors are opening and results are clear. But true faith is built in the waiting, in the silence, in the seasons where nothing seems to be changing. The question is not whether things are working out. It is whether there is enough trust to believe that they are, even when the evidence has not yet appeared. Energy is one of the most valuable resources a person has. It determines focus, motivation, and the ability to push forward in life. Yet so many people waste their energy on things that do not matter. They exhaust themselves trying to explain their actions, defend their choices, and seek approval from those who will never understand them. Every unnecessary conversation, every attempt to convince someone of their worth, takes away energy that could be used for growth, success, and self-improvement. There will always be people who do not understand the path someone is walking. They will question decisions, doubt abilities, and even criticize choices that do not align with their own expectations. It is easy to get caught in the cycle of responding to these voices, explaining every step, and seeking validation. But the truth is, no amount of explanation will change a mind that is not willing to listen. No amount of words will convince someone who has already decided what they want to believe. Time and energy are precious, and where they are directed determines the outcome of life. Every moment spent justifying decisions to the wrong audience is a moment taken away from progress. People who achieve great things do not waste their time explaining themselves. They move in silence, letting their actions speak louder than any words ever could. They understand that energy is meant to be invested in things that bring results, not in proving something to people who do not matter. Not everyone is meant to understand the journey. Some people will never see the vision no matter how clearly it is explained. That is why focusing on personal growth and progress is far more important than gaining approval. Those who spend their time seeking validation from others often end up feeling drained, frustrated, and lost. The strongest individuals do not need permission to follow their path. They trust themselves, they trust their purpose, and they move forward regardless of outside opinions. Protecting energy means being intentional about where focus is placed. It means choosing battles wisely and understanding that not every situation requires a response. When a person constantly reacts to negativity, they allow others to control their emotions and dictate their state of mind. But when they learn to ignore distractions and stay committed to their goals, they become unstoppable. The ability to walk away from unnecessary debates, to remain silent in the face of doubt, and to stay focused on personal growth is a sign of strength, not weakness. There will always be noise, there will always be opinions, criticisms, and distractions, But success belongs to those who learn to tune out the noise and protect their energy. They do not waste time worrying about what others think. They do not seek approval for every move they make. They understand that progress requires focus, and focus cannot exist when energy is constantly being drained by unnecessary conversations. Growth happens when energy is used wisely. It happens when time is invested in things that matter, when attention is given to self-improvement rather than external validation. Those who achieve great things do so because they refuse to be distracted. They do not allow doubt to consume them. They do not waste time defending themselves. They know who they are, they know where they are going, and they move with confidence. Not every action needs an explanation. Not every doubt needs a response. Some things are best left unsaid, some battles are not worth fighting, and some opinions are not worth considering. The ability to recognize this is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Energy is limited, and once it is spent, it cannot be regained. That is why the most successful people guard it carefully, ensuring that every bit of it is directed toward building the life they want, rather than proving themselves to those who will never understand. People often believe that words are the most powerful way to prove themselves, that if they talk enough, explain enough, or announce their plans to the world, they will be taken seriously. But true strength, true confidence, and true success do not come from words alone. They come from action, they come from consistency, they come from results that speak so loudly that no words are necessary. The people who truly make an impact in life are not the ones who constantly talk about what they are going to do. They are the ones who silently put in the work, stay focused, and let their success be the proof. The world is full of empty words. People make promises they never keep. They set goals they never pursue. They talk about change, but never take the steps to make it happen. This is why words alone hold little value. It is easy to say something, it is much harder to follow through. The ones who rise above are the ones who do not waste time making announcements. They do not seek approval before taking action. They do not wait for the perfect moment to begin. They simply put their head down and work, and eventually the results become undeniable. Silence is a powerful tool. When someone stops talking about their plans and starts executing them, they remove distraction. They take away the opportunity for others to doubt them, question them, or try to talk them out of their dreams. They stop seeking validation and start proving their worth through effort and dedication. People respect action more than words. They believe in results more than promises. Those who consistently show up, do the work, and deliver results will always stand out above those who only talk about what they hope to achieve. The greatest transformations happen behind the scenes. Growth is not always visible at first. A person who is truly committed to change does not need to announce it. They simply begin to shift, to evolve, to get better every single day. Over time, that consistency builds momentum. The discipline, the effort, and the persistence begin to pay off. And without ever having to say a word, their actions begin to speak for them. There will always be people who doubt, people who question, and people who do not believe in someone's ability to succeed. But words will never be enough to change their minds. Only action can do that. When results start to show, when progress becomes clear, when transformation is undeniable, even the loudest critics are forced to take notice. People may ignore words, but they cannot ignore success. They cannot ignore someone who has put in the work and proven themselves through effort rather than talk. Success does not require permission. It does not require approval. It only requires action, consistency, and a willingness to keep going no matter what. Those who understand this stop wasting energy on unnecessary explanations. They stop trying to convince others to believe in them. They stop worrying about who is watching and who is not. Instead, they put all their energy into the work, knowing that in time the results will make everything clear. The loudest people are not always the most successful. In fact, the ones who achieve the most are often the ones who talk the least. They do not feel the need to prove themselves through words because they know their results will do that for them. They are focused, disciplined, and committed to their vision. They understand that every second spent talking about what they plan to do is a second that could be used actually doing it. And that is why in the end they win. There is great power in moving in silence. In a world where people feel the need to broadcast their every move, to share their plans before they are fully formed, and to seek validation before taking action, there is something rare about a person who chooses to work quietly. The most successful individuals understand that real progress happens away from the spotlight, in the quiet moments of discipline and dedication, when no one is watching and when there is no applause. Silence protects dreams. When people talk too much about their goals, they open the door for doubt, criticism, and negativity. Not everyone will understand the vision. Not everyone will support the journey. Some people will project their own fears and limitations, trying to convince others that their dreams are impossible. Others may secretly hope for failure, waiting for the moment to say, "I told you so." This is why it is wiser to build in silence, to protect the dream from unnecessary opinions, and to allow results to speak louder than words ever could. Moving in silence also removes pressure. When people constantly announce their plans, they create expectations. They feel the need to prove themselves, to meet the standards they have publicly set, and to show progress on a timeline that may not align with reality. But real success does not follow a perfect schedule. It requires flexibility, adaptation, and sometimes even failure before the breakthrough happens. When progress is kept private, there is freedom to learn, to grow, and to make mistakes without the weight of external judgment. The world rewards results, not promises. There are many who talk about what they will do, but few who actually follow through. Talking about success is easy. Achieving it requires sacrifice, discipline, and relentless effort. Those who quietly put in the work, who stay consistent even when no one is watching, who keep pushing forward despite challenges, are the ones who eventually stand out. And when the results appear, they speak for themselves. No explanation is needed. Silence creates focus. When a person stops seeking approval, stops explaining their every move, and stops allowing distractions to pull them off course, their energy becomes unstoppable. Instead of wasting time defending their dreams to those who do not understand, they channel that energy into action. Instead of waiting for applause, they stay committed to their vision. Instead of worrying about opinions, they trust their process. The more they focus on the work, the less they need to say. There is a difference between making an impact and making noise. Some people chase attention, constantly seeking recognition before they have accomplished anything. Others build something real, something lasting, something undeniable. The loudest voices are not always the strongest. The most visible people are not always the most successful. True greatness comes from consistency, patience, and an unshakable commitment to the journey, not from constantly seeking validation along the way. Not everyone needs to know the plan. Not everyone deserves access to the vision. Some things are meant to be nurtured in private, developed in secret, and revealed only when they are ready. The strongest individuals understand this. They do not waste energy proving themselves. They do not seek approval before taking action. They do not announce every step before it has been taken. They simply move, work, and trust that when the time is right, the results will make everything clear.